I'd like to call to order the Milan Area Schools Board of Education regular meeting for Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. Would everyone please rise as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you to everyone attending this evening. Definitely a full house. We still have some chairs up here and in the middle, and definitely sign in if you have not signed in. All board members are present, and our student board members are excused. We are going to start off with some board recognitions. As tradition at the end of the year, to celebrate our staff retirements. We have some staff retirements with a lot of years to recognize, and many of them are here this evening. We'd like to recognize your service to Milan Area Schools. There will also be a retiree luncheon on Friday where they will receive a plaque. Before we start with those that are retiring, we do want to recognize 3 of our staff that left mid-year as well. So Mr. Sean DeSarbo left after 14 years. Mr. Clint Kraft with 22 years. And then obviously Miss Alicia Upton, who's all on our hearts and minds and souls with 23 years of service to the district. So we definitely want to honor them as well. Before our retirements that are here, we do have a certificate. So we'd like you to receive that and be congratulated by the board. As I read your name, we'll come on up. So first we'll start with custodian of 22 years, Jay Blyfield. Did I say it right? Congratulations. Shake everybody's hand.
Who was still working and getting us
Yeah.
extra chairs tonight.
Next up, 23 years as a teacher, most recently science teacher at the high school who gave a tremendous graduation speech, Miss Julie Oxley Mosper. Next, as an administrative assistant, 24 years of service, Luann Lataki. Awesome. Next, Central Office Administrative Assistant, 27 years, Miss Ann Four. Next, because we made her be here, but she's also 28 years as a teacher and a trusted adult to many, Miss Nicole Kensel McDaniel. Next, 29 years teaching, Miss Clara Theory. Next, 32 years teaching reading interventionist extraordinaire, Tracy Terrace. And I don't believe Mrs. Payne is here, right? Am I? But we will definitely recognize her. So 32 years, Miss Kara Payne. And then finally, for 33 years of service, Superintendent Mr. Brian Gearbaugh.
I'd shake all their hands, but I still have one more meeting left, so I'll do it then.
So, I mean, as you look at all those years, that is a lot of history. Brian just added it up as the math teacher. It's 309 years of service to Milan area schools, which is outstanding. We cannot thank you enough for your service. As we always say, there's so many roles at Milan area schools. Whatever you do, you touch the lives of children, and we greatly appreciate what you've done, as well as many of you guys have your families here. We know what your families do to support you in this role as well. So we are extremely thankful. Thank you for choosing Milan. Thank you for staying with Milan. We sincerely appreciate it. So congratulations to all of our retirees. And since you've already had a full day today, you guys are welcome to leave if you would like. We'll give you time to exit.
We have the motion.
You know what? Before you leave, I forgot. This is the part. You can stay standing up. I always forget the motion. Jeez, this is the most important part. So I need a motion to thank Jay Blyfield, Julie Mossberg, Luann Lataki, and for Nicole Kenzel, Clara Theory, Tracy Terrace, Kara Payne, and Brian Gearbaugh for their service to Milan area schools.
Moved by Gutierrez.
Support by Heike.
It's been moved and supported to thank Jay Blyfield, Julie Mossberg, Luann Lataki, and for Nicole Kenzel, Clara Theory, Tracy Terrace, Kara Payne, and Brian Gearbaugh for their service to Milan area schools. Any further discussion? All right, Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Heike.
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor.
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Burdette.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
And motion carries 7-0.
All right, now you're
Thank you.
excused. Sorry. All right, next up in the area of communications, we're going to have public comment. Just a reminder for public comment, you'll go up to the podium here. You'll have to press a little green button on there to make sure that it's that it's lit up. I just have something to read here real quick. Reminder that this meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. When addressing the board, you will be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement, investigation, study, and/or recommendation, or designated as future agenda items for board consideration. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? All right. Are there any public members who'd like to address the board?
Do I have to hold it down?
No, just press
Excellent.
once. Yep.
Hi, folks. Good evening. My name is Cal Kirchin. I work with Congresswoman Dingell's office, and when we have retirements in the district with our superintendents or our mayors, we do work to recognize them. So I'm here today to recognize Mr. Gearbaugh, and we have what's called a CRS, something that's going. Hey, Ashley. Something that's going straight into the congressional record, so this will be able to be found at the Library of Congress in due time. It takes time to transcribe it over to the Congress, but this is something that we do for our leaders in the community, and so I'm going to read it out loud and try and keep it under 3 minutes here. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize Mr. Brian Gearbaugh of Milan Area Schools as he moves on to the next chapter of his life. As superintendent for the past 17 years for a combined total of 33 years of service at Milan Area Schools, his unwavering commitment to serving the students and families of Milan and his diligence in his community is worthy of commendation. After receiving his bachelor's degree from Eastern Michigan University, Brian attended Wayne State University, where he received his master's degree and an education specialist degree. Brian began his career at Milan Area Schools in 1992 when he accepted a position teaching high school mathematics. I think I got that correct. In recognition of his leadership abilities, he was promoted to assistant principal at Milan Middle School in 1997, becoming principal just 2 years later. Brian would again be recognized for his hard work and commitment to education when he was named to the Milan School Board, serving as assistant superintendent before rising to the role of full superintendent in 2008. During his 17-year tenure as superintendent, Brian brought positive change to the Milan Area Schools as an advocate for students, staff, and community. In his role as superintendent, Brian increased the district fund balance from 4.5% in 2007 to 15.3% in 2004, passed the district's first sinking fund in 2024, for both of those, and supported the creation of the Milan Young Adult Program, among others. Further, Brian led efforts to improve school safety and student experience by passing a 2009 bond proposal, funding necessary upgrades to the district's aging infrastructure, including a high school addition, upgraded athletic facilities, and the construction of a transportation hub. Throughout his career, Brian has led by example, demonstrating his support for the Milan student body through consistent attendance at sporting events, band and choir concerts, extracurricular activities, and more. Brian mentored 13 central office staff along with 30 other administrators, 5 of whom would later become superintendents themselves. His engagement inside and outside the classroom exemplifies his passion for students and the broader community, and his legacy lives on through the success of the district and its alumni. Mr. Speaker, I ask my colleagues to join me today in recognizing Mr. Brian Gearbaugh for the lifetime of dedication to his students, families, community, and staff. From teacher to principal to superintendent, his dedication to fostering education has been a boon for the community which he is serving. His mentorship has also had a significant impact on administrators and other schools as well. Thank you, Brian. And I'll just say really briefly, thank you to, my mom's a 45-year educator as well, so for those who are still in the building, thank you to our educators as well for your service.
Thank you. Are there others who'd like to address the board? Yeah. Is the light? Yeah.
Okay, it's red.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, good evening, Milan Schools community. I'm Danielle Hoover. I'm very tired. I reside here in Milan, in the city of Milan, the Monroe County portion, right near City Hall. And we've lived here since about 2013. And don't worry, I'm not going to complain. Both of our children, we have an 8th grader and 11th grader, and they go to the middle school and high school. So they've gone here K through present and will graduate from here. And just wanted to say thank you, Mr. Gearbaugh, for your leadership in the school district, the entirety of the time that we've been here, and thank you to the teachers. And also wanted to give a big thank you for always being timely about replacing those American flags, as I've emailed about. It's just really important. So I wanted to say thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Are there others?
Andrea Bennick, and I just wanted to speak as a parent this evening on a couple of things. One, Miss Lataki, thanks so much. The years that Nathan was with you, you were amazing. I would pick Nathan up early from school to go to different appointments and therapies, and so he would wait in the office with Miss Lataki, and she would she would let him sit in her chair and, you know, run the door whenever anybody rang the bell. He would holler out, "Hi, who is it?" and you know, push the button to let them in. She was just really great and super supportive of him. And so thank you for that. And I hope you have a lovely retirement. Yes. And I also wanted to give thanks to the CAB and Miss Kay for searching out materials for special education students. I know that that's on the agenda this evening. And it's so hard to find materials that are appropriate, that are broad reaching, all of that. And so to take the time to do that so that you can support our learners who might need, you know, modifications to the curriculum and broaden that availability for them, I really appreciate that. So thank you for your time and your effort to the entire CAB board and to Ms. Kay for heading that up. It's really important. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there others who'd like to address the board tonight? Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Cagle. Excuse me, public speaking is not my thing. So this year has been kind of a rough year. I have two daughters in the Milan School District. One of them is here with me tonight. A few years ago, I sat in front of most of you. She made a few mistakes and got expelled from the school district. Since that time, my family has had this label that we're a bad people and we're a bad family. So my younger daughter is still in the school district. From the beginning of the year, when she started last year, she had a new vice principal. Mr. Baden was her vice principal. The very first day of school, Mr. Baden comes up to my daughter and says, "I've heard about your older sister. I'm going to have to keep an eye on you." From that moment on, he has done nothing but hound my daughter every chance they get. Anytime somebody comes up and says something about my daughter, it's automatically her fault. She's been suspended multiple times. I've sat with Mr. Gearbaugh, has sat down, we've talked it out multiple times about this, had this conversation. There's been, they have accused her, she got suspended for 3 days. They accused her of urinating in a bottle in the middle of class, which I'm trying to figure out how my daughter would do that in the middle of class. They found a bottle 45 minutes into the class. It was still warm, and they blamed it on my daughter, saying she peed in the bottle in the middle of the classroom because other students, because she's got the label as the bad kid, saying she did it. There's been at least 5 or 6 incidences where she's been suspended this year because kids have came up and said something that she has said because she has that label as the bad kid. So I'm in there. Last week she got suspended. I can't remember what it's for. Something minor. It wasn't nothing serious. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So I sat down with Ms. Bookout and Mr. Baden. I've had multiple conversations with them, probably 3 with Mr. Baden, a few with Ms. Bookout. Sat down with them, tell them how I feel. I told them I've had a Brinley told me the first time she got in trouble, she came home, and a week later, Mr. Baden came up and started trying to discipline her for something she didn't do. And a teacher came up and stuck up for her and said, "No, you're not doing that to her. I've noticed how you pick on this. There's a group of 10 girls that are people that get picked on all the time." She said, "No, you're not doing that to her. She didn't do it this time. She didn't do it. Leave her alone." So I had that conversation with him last week, and come to find out, that same week, I hear they're trying to fire Miss Moran. And it just so happens the teacher that I didn't say Miss Moran's name, but the teacher that I had that came up and stuck up for Brinley, and I just had that conversation about, was Miss Moran, even though I didn't say her name at all. It's just real weird that he would, all of a sudden, she's getting fired the same time that I go up and say, one of your teachers had this conversation saying, "I've noticed how you pick on your daughter," and now she's getting fired. I've got so much, I can't even, but it's been nonstop. Oh, what had happened, the previous incident I was talking about, as a student said, my daughter and a group of her friends were bullying her. My daughter was not even there that day. The two students that were bullying the kid got suspended. My daughter was not even in school that day. She comes back to school. She ends up saying something. I don't know if she said it or not, but kids went to Mr. Baden and said that my daughter said that she was going to slap this kid's mom. This kid mom shows up at the school and is threatening my daughter that she's going to beat her up, telling her she should kill herself. And this is in the office right here. And I never got anything, nothing. Like no callback, no. It's just, what I'm trying to get to is if you have this label on you in this town, you're automatically a bad person to the rest of the town. You know, is this making sense? I don't know, but it's just like we got this label now, and now that the teacher, he keeps pushing this label on my daughter is what I'm trying to say. Like throughout the year, anytime something bad happens, it's automatically her fault because of what her older sister had done in the past. And and I'm not the only one that feels this way. There is a group of people, if you're not part of that, I don't know, I don't want to say the good kids, but if you're, not on complete straight edge, you're an outsider and you get punished for that all the time. It's multiple kids, and I have friends that work in the school and they say they notice how 4 or 5 kids, they get bullied. It's bullying. It's him bullying my daughter, I feel like. And now he's doing it to Miss Moran because I feel he's doing it to Miss Moran because he knows that she's the one that stuck up for my daughter. And this has been all year. This has been on my mind, and I had to get it out. So thank you all for listening. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Definitely take that seriously. So Mr. Gerba and Mr. McMahon, will you take these comments and look into them, please?
And when I brought it up into Ms. Bookout, he also called me a liar to my face. He called me a liar and
Okay.
left the room on me too. So it's just.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheena Slavichuk. I'm a parent here. My daughter is in 8th grade and my son is in 2nd. Since he brought up Miss Moran, I just wanted to give you a parent's perspective on Miss Moran. My daughter has had a very tumultuous middle school experience. I actually just had a meeting with Ms. Bookout and Mr. Gerbach over 3 years of bullying in that school. And her first year there, it had gotten so bad she was suicidal. And she has done a lot of work to get to where she is, but it is no easy feat. And there are some really amazing teachers at that school that have helped her along the way, that have loved her unconditionally and accepted her and supported her. And Miss Moran is one of them. Miss Moran is somebody that she continually visits, even though she's no longer in 7th grade. Miss Moran was a safe person for my daughter. And when you think of a safe person, it takes a lot to be a safe person for a 7th grader. A 7th grader who is not like a lot of the other 7th graders. She's pretty amazing. Not everybody sees that though. And Miss Moran was someone that I always knew I could trust. My daughter had somewhere to go if she needed someone. When she didn't feel like the administration could help her, when she didn't feel like, I could help her because I wasn't there, she could go to Miss Moran. And the moment she found out that Miss Moran is being questioned for her abilities as a teacher, the first thing she did that next morning was go straight to Miss Moran's room and hug her. The thought of her brother not being able to have Miss Moran when he comes through, I mean, we already have a fear of putting him in middle school, but at least I know that there's safe people there, and taking away those safe people give us parents a lot of hesitation as to where we want to send our kids to know that they're safe. We need more safe people, not less, especially in the middle school. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there others?
Hello, my name is Leanne Majaj. I did have 2 students in Milan schools and I pulled them out. But when my daughter was here, Miss Moran was the only one that she could count on. She would go eat lunch with her. She would walk with her in the hallway. When we had an incident with the substitute teacher, I don't remember his name, but he had touched my daughter, brought it to everybody, and Miss Moran was the one that was there for her. So basically, like she said, Miss Moran has been there for these kids. Nobody else has. The middle school is terrible. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's awful. I am glad that I chose to pull my kids out, but getting rid of somebody like that, that's not okay.
Thank you for your comment.
We're supposed to give our name, right?
Yes,
Kirk
please.
Demars.
Yep.
I mean, most of you guys know me, unfortunately. So we'll keep the train rolling, I guess, from Miss Moran. We get to watch our time now too. Okay. I'm here as a parent as well. My kids haven't had Miss Moran as a teacher, but they've had her as a coach, and the experience was amazing. So my knowledge of her is as a human being, as just a person, being around her as a parent, seeing her coach my son, seeing, the impact that she's had on him, in athletics. And I'll kind of, I guess, reiterate some things that have already been said. I think it's no surprise to some of you guys that, I've had my differences of opinion with administrative decisions in this district over the years. And so that's that. But I'll reiterate what the last lady had to say, and she was really trying to make a strong point of, is that I think any district, not just Milan, your strengths are in the people that are the boots on the ground. They're the teachers, the secretaries, and I'm sorry if I'm using wrong terms, but your administrative assistants, people that are with the students every day. Not that the jobs you guys all do and all the administrative people don't have important roles as well, but the people that see these students every day and have a daily impact. The stories that you just heard from Miss Moran. Again, my son doesn't have that experience, but he has the same equivalent experience as an athlete. As a dad, my favorite video of him is at the state meet this year. After he deadlifted 500 pounds, the first person he went to was her. And that video still today just has a vast impact on me. So a person like her that you're taking off the front lines working with young people is a mistake. Okay? And one of the things we teach our children, right? One of the first things we teach them as young people, as parents, is to be able to say you're sorry, right? I made a mistake. And if you guys carry forward with this kind of decision, you're making a mistake. There's no other way to put it. The people that are involved in this decision. Of course, as a parent, I don't know what all's went into your decision to not offer her a contract, fire her, whatever the legal terminology is in the contract. But that's a mistake. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you for the comment.
Hello, my name's Denise Lopez. Sorry, that's my nephew he's talking about. And watching him in that moment, I never had that same experience. I'm sorry. Because my daughter, Riley Lopez, also went to the state meet because of Miss Moran. In the 8th grade, she came to me and said, Mom, I really want to compete. She fell in love with lifting. And I went to Mr. Holder, who was our AD at that time, and expressed what she wanted. and he said he would bring it to the coaches and talk about it. At that same time, Miss Moran was also trying to start it, and I didn't know that until later when I got to talk to her about it. And I feel like he placed the right person in the lives of my daughter and my nephew. You couldn't ask for a better person to be the coach for them. Someone who's a state champion, coached our kids, and took my daughter to the state meet her freshman year. My freshman year, my daughter went to the state meet. Her sophomore year, state meet. Why? Because of someone like Miss Moran. You can't find someone better than her. I don't have a lot of experience with her as a teacher. I believe Riley's a student in her first year of teaching. But as a coach, you can't find anyone better. Watching her uplift my daughter and give her the courage that she needed at those meets. For my daughter to be up there and lift 300 pounds, deadlift 300 pounds at her age, to me is amazing. But to have the person that she, just to believe in her. And I refer to Miss Moran as her person. Because the same thing, at those meets, she wants nobody else but Miss Moran. That's who has built her up throughout the season. That's the person that believes in her, who has given my daughter the courage to just believe in herself finally. I wanted nothing more than my daughter to just have confidence and believe in her. And that woman, Miss Moran, is the person who has done it. And like my brother Kirk said, you have to have the people in this community, the teachers, who are going to be there to uplift and encourage our kids. To get rid of someone that, if you think back to a teacher who means so much to you growing up, everyone has at least one teacher, at least one coach that you look back at, and they are the person that touched you and lifted you up and were there for you. There are so many students, if you go through the school, in her short time with this school district, who she has done so much for. She has lifted up, she has encouraged. It would be such a shame to lose someone as amazing as her. So I really think you guys should just rethink this. I can't imagine not having her here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Hi, everybody. Melissa Demars. First, I was not expecting to be back here this quick. We just got out of here on Sunday, and I've been here 9 years. I'm didn't want to come back here so quickly, but I needed to come and support her. Secondly, KJ lifted 580, not 500. He's number 6 in the state. I got to clear that one up, Kirk. You messed that one up. But anyway, 580, okay, at his little size. It was pretty amazing. But that was something I was going to speak on, is that video. If you guys have not gotten to see the video of him lifting the 580, it was a deadlift, and it was one of the most amazing videos ever, because he lifted that up and he went down and he literally turned and just jumped into her arms. And they were crying and he was hugging her, and that was one of the most amazing moments as a parent of an athlete. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, if your kids play sports, I know a lot of you do. When you see your child exceed something they never thought they would be able to do, that makes it all worth it. It makes all of the booster meetings and all of the times that I come up here and all of the pictures I was taking, all these things, it makes it worth it. And she pushed him to be that athlete. She pushed him. And she worked with him. If he didn't feel like he could do it, she worked with him and she said, nope, we got to do this. And he listened to her. And I'll be honest, I was very concerned. I'm going to give this out. Last year, when he told me that there was a woman coaching him, I was concerned, because my son, KJ, he's a man's man. He just is that guy. Not that he's, against women. He's just a guy's guy. And I was like, oof, this is not going to be good. And all he did was talk about how great she was, how much she could lift, how much she pushed him. And I was like, whoa, okay. And to see the respect he has for her and the admiration he has for her has been crazy to me, because I was not expecting that. And then this year, he was asked to coach with her. So next year, he was going to come back and coach with her. And he was so excited to watch him at the banquet talking to the younger kids and have them like, hugging KJ, and the parents come up and they're like, "Oh, our kids keep talking about your son and how he's going to coach with them and how they're so excited he's going to be there for them." And to not only lose her, but to lose that hope that KJ had to be able to come back and work with these students. It was heartbreaking. And yes, I don't know every piece of this puzzle. All I know is, as a parent, what my heart tells me and what my eyes tell me, and how amazing she has been for every student, not just the cool kids, not just the popular ones or the whatever. She has been amazing to every student and loved them the same. And I just feel that it would be wrong to get rid of her. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment.
Button push yes.
Yeah,
We
you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Rachel Gritt. Sierra Miranda is a very dear friend of mine, and I could talk endlessly about what I know of her personally, but that's not what I'm here to share. When I found out about her pending termination, I created a petition, and I circulated it. It was my doing. I just sent it out into the ether, expecting, there are a lot of people who love her. Maybe we would get 50, maybe 100 signatures. Currently, we have 413 signatures of people who adore Miss Moran and who want to see her stay on as a teacher. And there are a couple comments from students here that I would like to read. When I had Miss Moran last year, she was a very sweet teacher with a generally welcome classroom for everyone and encouraged creativity in our projects. She had a class in which she was a safe space for me and the other students. Miss Moran is one of the best teachers I've ever had. She's helped me in more ways than I could ever say. She's such a genuine person, and as a teacher, she makes everyone in her class feel her love, even if they dislike her class. She's such a funny teacher and always knows how to keep the assignment fun and educational. She always makes everyone feel welcome no matter who you are. I don't know what I would have done without a teacher like her. Ms. Moran literally saved my life. She's the only teacher that took me seriously. I was scared, but she stayed with me when I had to talk to that one guy at the MS. Before I met her, I didn't care about school. Ms. Moran actually cares about her students. She comes to all our stuff, even at the high school. No other teacher does that. I'm not even her student now, and she still talks to me and sees how I'm doing anytime I see her. She never makes me feel like I'm wasting her time. There are more students who left comments on that petition, so I would strongly encourage you to go find it. It's on one of the local Milan Facebook pages. But as a parent who has multiple children who are entering school systems, who have already been through so much in their short little lives, I hope and I pray that they get a teacher like Miss Moran. And again, I'm not speaking from my own personal experience here. These are the words of her actual students. So I beg and I plead with you as a parent, please reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there others?
My name is Riley. I'm a student at the high school. I'm in 10th grade. I was lucky to have Miss Moran in 8th grade for her first year, and she was a very great teacher. She's one of those teachers that you can go to that that you feel like cared and loved, and like those teachers that you want to go to school for. I also had her as a coach for powerlifting, and I wouldn't want any other coach. Like my mom said, I always wanted her there, and not any other coach. Like I said, I went to the state meet 2 years in a row because of her. She's just, she's a great person in general. She's not just like, not in the classroom or not just in the weight room. She's outside, just a great person you could go to about anything. And like Mom said, I went to states 2 years in a row because of her, and that's not something I thought I would ever do. But she's always there to just push you, and she sees potential in your students, even when they don't see it in themselves. And I've really grown because of her. And it's getting rid of her would be an awful decision, and she's one of those people that students like want to go to school for, and it makes them pay attention in class. And even like the students that weren't great to her, she didn't treat them differently. She was great to them too, and it'd be an awful thing to get rid of her. But thank you.
Thank you, Riley. Thank you for speaking up. It's very brave of you. Thank you. Are there others?
Hi, I'm Kaylin Cagle. I'm a former student here, and I just wanted to say when I also was in 8th grade, as y'all know, I got into some trouble sometimes, and Miss Moran was always there to like talk to about that type of stuff, like, and I was like always like in like drama as well, and she would be there. Her and Mrs. Couch were the only two people I ever had to talk to, and like, in one time, like, I jokingly got myself into trouble because I was like, literally like, I don't know, that's off topic, but yeah, I just wanted to say like Miss Moran, like everyone, like from like people that like total different ends of different spectrums of people, she was there for everyone. Like even like kids that would be like a little bit more disrespectful in her class, she would give chances to and like talk to them like about anything. Like she would just always be there, and even though that was like 2-3 years ago, I still think about her all the time. Like, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Are there others?
Hello, my name's Lila Ritz. Miss Moran is a great teacher. One day I have like I'm really bad with loud sounds, and I carry headphones around me with school. A student broke my headphones. I bursted out crying. Miss Moran saw me, took me to her room, tried to help me with my headphones. She's like the best teacher you could ask for, and I don't think you should like fire her because there are like a lot of students in her class that love her. I've seen like a bunch of students go to her classroom, eat with her, talk to her in the halls and everything. She's just a really wonderful teacher, and she's been there for like everyone. So
Thank you, Leia.
Hi, my name is Bailey Majaj, and I just wanted to say that every time I felt uncomfortable eating in the lunchroom, Miss Moran would always offer to let me go to her room and sit with her, and she would just always make everyone feel comfortable, and she gave everyone a chance, and she was such a great teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Bailey. Are there others? Thank you for those comments this evening. Next, we're going to move on to routine matters for approval. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 20th, 2025.
Motion by Pryor.
Support by Burdette.
So moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 20th, 2025. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, it's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 20th, 25. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Kaika?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, next up, I need a motion to approve the bills and reimbursement of expenses.
Moved by Burdette.
Support by Heika.
It's been moved and supported to approve the bills and reimbursement of expenses. Any discussion? Mr. Farrell?
Yeah, I just wanted the board to be aware, and also the community. I had some questions on the P card charges as well as some of the check expenditures. All of the questions that I had were promptly answered by Krista Hendricks. So thank you.
Mr. Burdette?
I would also like to have a similar comment. I did have a couple of questions specifically on the P card charges this past month, and Krista answered them satisfactorily and very quickly, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other further discussion? All right. It's been moved and supported to approve the bills and reimbursement of expenses. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Motion carries 7-0.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 MHSAA, which is the Michigan High School Athletic Association membership resolution as included in attachment A.
Moved by Pharaoh.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 MHSAA membership resolution as included in attachment A. This is an annual resolution that we consider for our membership into MHSAA so that we can participate in the athletics that are sponsored by MHSSA for high school and as well as the middle school. Any other further comment, Mr. Gearbaugh?
It's something, if we don't approve it, then we can't participate, so it's pretty much just an annual thing that we have to do. And part of the resolution also sends the state the numbers and sets us up for what division we'll be in and all of those.
Any questions? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 MHSAA membership resolution as included in attachment A. Ms. Murray?
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
motion carries 7-0.
All right. Next on to board organization topics. We have a first reading of the 2025-2026 board meeting dates. So these are the proposed dates. This is the first reading of those dates. Again, we'll try to stick to a second and third, second and fourth Wednesday. Then there's a few months that we just have one meeting because of holidays and such and the breaks. So that's just there for your consideration. If there's any comments, that does work around the various activities that we have for conferences and such. So if you have any issues, feel free to let me know, and we'll have a second reading and approval at our next meeting. All right, now we will move on to strategic plan business. First up of many in the area of finance and operations. These are the approvals. At the last meeting, we had the first reading of these budget amendments. So first up, we are going to consider, I need a motion to approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget as presented in attachment C.
Moved by Pharaoh.
Support by Burdette.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget amendment as presented in attachment C. Again, we had a first reading, an opportunity to ask Ms. Hendricks and Mr. Gearbaugh questions in regards to that amendment. Are there any other further questions or discussion regarding that budget amendment? All right, hearing none, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget amendment as presented in attachment C. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
and motion carries 7-0.
All right, next up, I need a motion to approve the 2024-2025 debt funds budget amendment as presented in attachment D.
Motion by Pryor. Support by Heika.
So moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 debt funds budget amendment as presented in attachment D. There was a question at the last meeting on how those were broken down. Ms. Hendricks provided the detail in regards to that. Are there any further questions in regards to the debt fund budget amendment? All right, hearing none. It's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 debt funds budget amendment as presented in attachment D. Ms. Murray?
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
motion carries 7-0.
Next, I need a motion to approve the 2024-2025 food service budget amendment as presented in attachment E.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 food service budget amendment as presented in attachment E. Again, this is mostly due to federal regulations on how we have this budget allocated. Are there any other further questions or concerns regarding the food service budget amendment? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 food service budget amendment as presented in attachment E. Ms. Murray?
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Pharaoh.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the 2024-2025 student school activities budget as presented in attachment F.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Pharaoh.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 student school activities amendment budget as presented in attachment A. Reminder, this is the budget that's used for extracurricular activities, primarily for fundraisers and such that clubs or activities, extracurricular activities for the school, for those to run through the school account. Any questions or concerns regarding that amendment?
Just to clarify, Mr. Sislo, it's attachment F.
Oh, I
believe you
apologize.
said A.
Attachment F. Thank you.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2024-2025 student school activities budget amendment as presented in attachment F. Thank you. Ms. Murray?
Heike,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
and motion carries 7-0.
All right, now we move on to the budgets for 25-26 as we've gone through the amendments for 2024-2025. These are the budgets for next year, 2025-2026, as we're required by the state to submit prior to July 1st. So I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 general fund preliminary budget as presented in attachment G.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Murray.
So moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 general fund preliminary budget as presented in attachment G. Any discussion?
I just have a few comments.
Yeah, Mr. Farrow.
I just want the community to know that the per pupil foundation that we are anticipating is $10,000 per student. This would be up from $9,608 this past fiscal year. This estimate is the estimate on the per pupil foundation is the lesser of 3 proposals known at this time. So there's a lot that is not known at this time in terms of state and federal dollars. So this was a conservative estimate. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we're anticipating a $3.3 million reduction in state revenue. Again, so much is unknown at this time with the state budget and education. You'll note that we are anticipating the need to reduce expenses in all function codes to offset the reduction in revenue. This includes basic programs, added needs, pupil services, instructional support, administration, operations and maintenance, central support, etc. So I just wanted the community to be aware. Thank you.
Ms. Heiko.
I just, to add on to what Mr. Farrow said, I want to remind the public that we're doing this now without knowing what the state budget is, because under state law, we are required to pass our budget by June 30th. The state, however, is not required to pass their budget in any time frame. They never have to pass a budget, even though some of us would argue that the only function of government is to set the budget. Maybe that's the only function we can all agree on. They're supposed to set the budget. So we don't know what the per pupil increase will be or whether there will be an increase. What we also don't know is what the public school increase will be versus the charter school increase. If you recall last year, as part of some budget finagling, public schools received an increase. We received a 0 increase in the foundational allowance, but we received some pension credits on the back end that was supposed to overcome that. That meant that not every public school received the same increase. It varied depending on what your obligations were in the pension fund. Charter schools don't have those same functions or those same obligations, so they did receive a per pupil increase, and many of them received a per pupil increase that was significantly higher than traditional public schools. What we don't know in this budget is how the state is going to handle that discrepancy that they created last year by their budget gimmicks, and that's what it was a gimmick. How they are going to shrink that discrepancy, or whether they're going to shrink it at all, or whether they're going to continue to support charter schools above traditional public schools. I said this at the last meeting when we rolled out this budget. This is a call to all of you to call your state reps and your state senators. If anything needs to be settled, it needs to be this budget. Because not only do we not know what's not happening at the state, if you're watching or paying attention to anything that's happening at the federal level, I know there's a lot, but it's still unclear what's going to happen with the funding for special education and everything else that comes from the federal government. And so that's why we have this kind of crazy budget that if you look at, all of you are gonna go, oh my gosh, what is happening? This is what's happening. So please, call your state reps, call your state senators. If you don't know who they are, email me. Our emails are on the website. I am happy to help you find yours. So please, call your state reps.
Thank you, Ms. Heike. Are there others? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 general fund preliminary budget as presented in attachment G. Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
And motion carries 7-0.
All right, next up, I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 debt funds preliminary budget as presented in attachment H.
Motion by Pryor.
Support by Burdette.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 debt funds preliminary budget as presented in attachment H. Any further discussion? All right. It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 debt funds preliminary budget as presented in attachment H. Ms. Murray.
Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. And motion carries 7-0.
Next up, like we said, this is a new one for us. Thanks to the voters of the Milan school community. I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 sinking fund preliminary budget as presented in attachment I.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Murray.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 sinking fund preliminary budget as presented in attachment I. Is there any further discussion? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 sinking fund preliminary budget as presented in attachment I. Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Next, we will consider the 2025-2026 food service preliminary budget. I need a motion to approve that preliminary budget as presented in attachment J.
Moved by Burdette.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 food service preliminary budget as presented in attachment J. Any discussion? It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 food service preliminary budget as presented in attachment J. Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
And motion carries 7-0.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 student school activity funds preliminary budget as presented in attachment K.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 student school activity funds preliminary budget as presented in attachment K. Any discussion? It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 student school activity funds preliminary budget as presented in attachment K. Ms. Murray.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. And finally, finally, in the area of budget, I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 General Appropriations Act as presented in attachment L.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 General Appropriations Act as presented in attachment L. This is what we had the public hearing for prior to the meeting. This is what sets the mill rates for our operating millage. And the good news is there's going to be no change. They're going to be set at 17.9694 and 5.9694 mils. And for the operating millage, the debt levy millage will be set at 9.75 mils, which is no change. And then our sinking fund millage is going to be set at 1.4943 due to a small Headley rollback. So, Mr. Gearbaugh, do you have anything further?
No, you've learned well.
All right.
That's everything I was going to say. This is an important document because it does set all of those tax rates. It basically summarizes all of the budgets as well. So I just want to thank Ms. Hendricks for getting that all put together. And trust me, there's a lot of documentation behind this that she needs to send out to all the municipalities in the next couple of days because they need to get everybody's tax bills ready. So we appreciate you taking this action at this meeting.
Any further?
Mr. Sisler.
Yeah, Ms. Gutierrez.
I was hoping that Mr. Gearbaugh could explain just for the community about the Headley rollback, as they might recognize that the rate on the sinking fund is different than was on their ballot. And I think it would just be a good exercise to make sure everyone's clear on that.
Yes, absolutely. So the Headley rollback is named after an amendment to the state school code laws dealing with financial support for schools. And basically, to put it simply, when a millage is passed, the voters vote for a specific mill rate. That's determined to collect a certain amount of tax based on the taxable values of all of the properties in the school district. The amount that tax is allowed to collect is only allowed to go up by a certain growth factor determined across the whole state. If your property values go up more than that, and therefore that millage is going to collect more than the amount that you are allowed to collect, then they make you back off on the mill rate to bring it down to the full dollar amount that you're allowed to collect under that new cap. And basically each year that amount gets reviewed and possibly capped and lowered a little bit more. This has been true for us for years. You heard Mr. Sislo say that the millage rate for the operating is 17.9694. That was approved at 18 mils. We had a Headley amendment rollback years ago. The nice thing is the size of that rollback truly only means a difference in collection of taxes of under $10,000, I think our calculations determined. So it's not like we're going to lose a tremendous amount of money, but that does explain hopefully why it's not 1.5 mils, it's the odd number.
Thank you, and just to reassure our constituents, it won't go beyond that 1.5, which if our property values tank, we will still never tax more than the 1.5 mils.
Actually, it can't ever go beyond the amount that it just got lowered to.
Good, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Ms. Heika?
And I was just going to add, this is also the amendment that, protects homeowners who've been in homes for a very long time as the property values explode around them. So if you've got a parent or a grandparent who's owned a home for 50 years, their taxable value is very different than a neighbor who just purchased their home. Or if you just purchased a home from someone who's owned it for a very long time, the tax rate changes significantly. So this is a way to protect homeowners too. It does impact us, but to Mr. Gearbaugh's point, it does in a very small way, but it is a huge protection for some of our homeowners in the community.
Are there others? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 General Appropriations Act as presented in attachment L. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heika?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you for sitting through that. You, just like our principal from Paddock, sat through the budget things last meeting, so have everyone else here. So Next up, in the area of learning environment and culture, we have the WISD PAC update from Miss Andrea Bennick.
Thank you. As lengthy as that agenda was, went through it quick. I was surprised. So I'm still here. So I wanted to say good evening and thank you for the time to update you and the community on the most recent WISD PAC meeting and on special education in Milan area schools. The WISD PAC met for the last time of the 2024-25 school year on May 20th. Our representatives heard from Beth Kohler from Special Education Mediation Services, which is a free mediation and facilitation service that can be utilized in the event that school districts and families have differences during the IEP process. There were a few notable things that Beth brought to our attention. One is that SEMS can be helpful if there is a disagreement amongst the district and families, whether a student should have modifications or services through a 504 versus an IEP. And so if there is a disagreement, if a family thinks a 504 would be sufficient, but a district is feeling like an IEP is more appropriate or vice versa, SEMS can help mediate through even that initial process before an IEP is formulated. And then the other thing that Beth highlighted was that when SEMS is called into districts to help support the IEP process, their staff is often finding that building administrators are unaware that there is a disagreement to the point where it's been escalated and SEMS needs to be called in. She's noted that that's usually often the case in larger districts where there are several special education directors and administrators, and Milan is much smaller and typically that's not a problem, but I wanted to make note of it considering we have new district and building administrators coming in, and I want to encourage our new staff in those roles to connect with the special education support staff and to let them know that they're available to help support that process, and maybe we can eliminate some of the need for mediation services by having more support among staff to collaborate with families. Deborah Hester Washington gave an update on the ISD at our meeting, and during her update we discussed measurable goal training, which is training meant to support staff in writing IEP goals that are data-driven and measurable. For example, one of my son's goals in reading is, quote, in 36 instructional weeks, Nathan will be able to compare two characters in a familiar story by identifying what is the same between them with 80% accuracy, when provided with a visual model and a paragraph of narrative text. This will be measured through teacher observations, work samples, and assessments, end quote. So I provide that to you. It's super technical sounding, but it's meant to be an example of a clearly written goal with very specific objective and a very specific percentage of achievement, and it includes methods of collecting data. The measurable goal training is available for staff through the WISD, and it helps guide them in writing goals in this manner. The WISD is also providing this training to our PAC members in September so that we can clearly see how each of our districts is doing in writing our IEPs. And I think we're all really interested in bringing our own students' IEPs to that and learning more about where there's room for improvement or what our districts are doing well. And it's open to the public so parents can come and learn what a well-written IEP should look like, and that will help you in your advocacy efforts as well. So that meeting is going to happen on September 16th at 6:30, and I encourage all of you to attend. We also touched on the least restrictive environment compliance monitoring process, and we'll continue to review LRE prior to the WISD cohort review, which takes place in February of 2026. The WISD is hosting Para Boot Camp again this year in the last week of June, and it's available for any para who has not previously attended the boot camp, and you'll have to register through the WISD and take advantage of that if you have not already done so. There are a couple of updates that I have specific to Milan area schools. Sarah Norton was officially approved through the WISD Board of Education to represent Milan on the PAC. She attended our meeting as a representative and will serve for 2 years or longer if she so desires. I'm grateful for Sarah's involvement and her initiative shown already in this role. Sarah and I will both be available to help support families and staff in Milan. We are in the process of creating introduction flyers and will coordinate attendance at our district's open houses this fall. As the community may already be aware, there are some changes proposed to the reproductive health curriculum in Milan area schools. And as I said before, I really appreciate the CAB working to incorporate those materials for students with special needs. But one thing that's worth mentioning to the community is that if parents or families of students with special needs have some additional supplemental material that they find helpful, they can provide that to the reproductive health instructors, but that material can only be used for their specific student. It cannot be presented without approval. There's a whole process of approving materials and things. But I used last year when Nathan was in 4th grade, I had some social stories that were pertinent to developing bodies, and I provided those to the reproductive health instructor, and they were able to incorporate that to help facilitate his learning of that material. Like I said, that's only to be utilized for the students that is presented for. It cannot be brought to the class as a whole. But that way it allows access to content. As always, I encourage families to review the curriculum and collaborate with staff on what may be needed to support students in learning this material. And I briefly wanted to share some resources and dates with the community that are specific to students with special needs, especially as summer is upon us, and sometimes that loss of structure leaves families kind of floundering, not sure what to do or what's available for their students. Celine's Imagine Theater often hosts sensory-friendly movies, so you can check their website to see what's available for the summer for dates and times for viewings. The Henry Ford Museum also hosts sensory-friendly Saturdays on their giant screen, and you can check their website for dates and times. It looks like they have a Disney lineup. I'm pretty sure I saw like Cars 2, Moana, those kinds of things. So for those of you who don't know, sensory-friendly screenings are like the house lights are up, the volume's turned down, people are up and moving around, and it's just meant to be something that families can attend together and don't have to really worry about disrupting other moviegoers. There's a program called Kids Bowl Free, where families can register and children under 18 can bowl 2 free games every day during the summer. There's an app that you can download, and you can sign up online for email updates. And for a small fee, parents and caregivers can join that program and access discounted bowling. Station 300 in Saline is a participating bowling alley in our area. The Work and Play Special Needs Resource Center has put out a summer calendar. They're hosting a wide variety of things for all different ages. They have a social skills group, several 18 and older events that are good for our students in the young adult program. And I shared those specific listings and resources with Mrs. Marsh today so that she could share that out with her students in the young adult program. They have cooking classes. They're going to have some advocacy workshops for families and caregivers who may need support with advocating. You can check out their website to register for any of those events, and their website is workandplaycenter.org. You may need to be a member of this center to access some of those programmings. And full disclosure, this is a nonprofit. I am friends with the founder of the nonprofit, but they do have some really great things that are available to our community that I wanted to share out. August 16th is Special Needs Swim Day at Rolling Hills Water Park. The Milan community has several events that may be of interest to families, including Milan in Motion, which is a fitness and activity calendar ongoing this summer. The Milan Public Library holds a summer reading program open to all. Third Thursdays often has events tailored to families, and the parks, splash pad, and walking trails are great public spaces to meet up. Coming up this fall is an educational event on September 16th from 8:30 to 3 o'clock. Wayne Steedman from Rights Law is holding a seminar on special education law. Rights Law is one of the top experts on special education law and rights, and I encourage parents to attend this event to learn more about your students' rights in education. Registration for that is on the Work and Play Center website as well. And finally, PAC resumes its meetings in September, and we will meet every other month on the third Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30 in the 2025-26 school year, with the exception of early 2026. We'll tailor our meeting time in February to coordinate with the LRE compliance monitoring, so whenever the WISD gets that time frame set up, because PAC is part of that LRE process, we will have our meeting coordinate with whatever they end up deciding on for time frame up there. And our meetings remain open to the public, and online attendance is an option, and we look forward to continuing to connect with both our families and their staff in the Milan area schools. Thank you for your support and for your time this evening to connect with you. I have a calendar that has all of those things from the work and play that I will leave here by the sign-in, and anybody's welcome to just take a snapshot of it with their phone so they have that on hand. Thank you.
Awesome. And you continue to be the president? Is that? Or is,
Yes,
all right.
I am still the chair.
Hey, thank you for your participation and leadership. Yep.
When you say yes, then you're locked in.
There you go.
know.
Thank you for the update. Next up in the area of learning environment and culture, we have the Sex Education Advisory Board presentation recommendation. So I need a motion to approve the Sex Education Advisory Board recommendation as provided in attachment M2.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Murray.
All right, so Ms. Kensel will lead us through this. Oh, there, thank you. I did. She's already had 2 public hearings. This is very well prescribed by law, where she's going to present this to us, and then we'll vote on its approval. So, Ms. McKenzel.
Hi, thank you. For members of the public that don't know, as a teacher, anytime we want to change any materials, if we find something that's better, more interesting, more engaging for students, we can just change it. We can work with our administration to get things approved within the building. But when it comes to sex education, there's a whole area of the school health code that dictates a lengthy process that we have to go through to involve the community in making, in having input on whatever it is we're going to teach in the area of sex education. So we have this committee, and you will be hearing more about this committee in the next part of this meeting, because we have to update it because some of our members are leaving. I'm here tonight in my last 2 days here as the co-chair of this committee. So I'm not going to go into what the law is as far as that goes, because you'll probably hear a little bit more about that later. But I do want you to know that the committee takes in information from students through a survey called MyFi, and from our community. Some of you may have remembered filling out a survey about where you think things should first be taught in sex education at Milan area schools. And the committee takes input from the students, from the community, then also from what we see in the schools and teacher and administrator experiences. And we make recommendations on what changes or updates need to be made to meet our community needs. And this is a 2-year cycle, and we are at the point of the 2-year cycle where our committee is ready to make some recommendations to our board and ask them to allow us to get some new materials, update the curriculum, add some things. So the way Milan area schools currently teaches reproductive health right now in 4th grade, we have 1 class. It's 1 day. Boys and girls are separated, and they get a lesson from our school nurse. We have nothing in 5th grade at all. And then in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, there is a unit in each grade that is about 7 classes long, and it covers age-appropriate but wide variety of topics related to reproductive health. The committee and recognized, and you can just see by looking at it, when you look at 5th grade, we have some weaknesses, and 1 day in 4th grade isn't enough. So we are here today to request some changes for what is going to be taught, where, and like kind of just like what materials we can use. So this is the recommendation that we are asking for the board to approve today. We're looking for some additional materials that will allow us to extend the 4th grade lessons. We're actually asking for more materials than the school nurse or whoever ends up teaching it can actually use, because we have to go through this lengthy process. If we can give that person a variety so that they can make some changes, work with the building administration to figure out how much time they have available to work this in, to figure out what's best for kids, just giving them as many resources as we can so that they can pull from for that. We would like to add some lessons in 5th grade where there are none, and we have students going through so many changes in 5th grade that they absolutely need some more information. They need information in 5th grade. There's nothing there. And then we also want to just update some stuff for our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And we're looking at a curriculum that allows us to do all of those things. In addition, we're looking for some resources for our special needs populations. There is no curriculum out there that includes that for our reproductive health. So this has been quite a process to find those materials. In addition, we are asking for if we get approval for having more in 4th grade and for adding a 5th grade class, lessons, not class, but 5th grade lessons. There's a permission letter, of course, that would always go home to students that they have to have permission to be in the room. We wouldn't have anyone in the room that doesn't have permission. But our board, a couple years ago, suggested, and we do now in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, that to offer an extra permission. What is taught in class has to be specifically what is approved by you all today, what we're allowed to teach. If a kid raises their hand and they ask a question that is beyond the scope of what that teacher can say to everybody, the board said, well, how's that kid going to get their question answered? And so we have a permission in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that allows, with an additional teacher permission, for the teacher and a one-on-one conversation away from the rest of the class to answer that question for that student, and then let their parents know your student wanted this additional information. This is what was discussed with them, so their adult can follow up with them. And so if we're going to look at adding 4th and 5th grade, that same kind of scenario is going to come up. So we're asking for that additional permission to be allowed for there as well. So that's part of what we're asking today. When you were talking about content, we are looking, one of the topics that came up is the discussion of masturbation and where and how it can be included in the curriculum. And after much conversation, we're recommending that in 4th grade it not be discussed as a class, but this would be one of the, and that if a student asks, we refer them to their trusted adult, but this would be something that could be on that extra permission that the teacher could have a conversation with the student. In 5th grade, if a student asks, the teacher could answer, or the school nurse, I should clarify. In 4th and 5th grade, it would probably be the school nurse. Could answer to the whole class, but is not really talking about it, just answering a question. And 6th grade, it would be part of the conversation about what is appropriate, what's not appropriate, and work that into the lessons about growth and change. So those are some of overall what we're looking for. We are asking we have to ask for specific materials under the law. We can't just say this is what we want, this is the ideas, so we have to ask for you to approve specific materials. So the material that we're looking for is a curriculum called Puberty of the Wonder Years. This is one that we use currently at the middle school in 6th grade. The content we use in 6th grade is a little different than the way they have it laid out right now, because we don't have a real 4th and 5th grade program. So in 6th grade, I teach the 4th and 5th grade content, and then what is taught in 6th grade, I teach in 7th and 8th grade. So our Milan kids are a little bit behind in what is recommended, but also our community doesn't totally agree with the way they've laid it out. So when we're coming to you with this request today, we're not asking for the materials to be taught exactly as they are laid out in that curriculum. Our committee went through every single lesson, and it's in your board packet there on attachment M, I think, that we went through every single lesson and said, this is the grade that we in Milan feel it is appropriate for. This is the part we are not going to teach here at all, or this is the part that is, is okay for 8th grade, but we definitely not for 4th or 5th grade. So we, line by line, video by video, went through and laid out exactly what we're asking you to approve. Now, previously you passed a resolution that said if something's approved like for 4th grade, it's okay for 4th grade up. That is still going to be true, but the document has what's the first grade that it could possibly be taught in, okay? So there's some things that are not included. So that is the one area that we're asking you to approve. And then these specific resources as what we're looking for right now for our special needs populations, we looked hard, could not find one program for our special needs populations. So we went to every special group we could find, searched the web, trying to find resources, put together a variety of little pieces that teachers could pull from, and just to give us a place to start. The committee over the next cycle is going to keep looking. I'm sure things will continue to be developed, or I'm hoping things continue to be developed. This is a lot further than what we had last time we came around. Last time we came through, I asked for the flash curriculum, which is up there right now, that was approved for middle school and high school. Some of it might be appropriate now for our fifth graders, but we have social stories, a whole bunch of other things. So that's why you have a smattering of websites instead of just a curriculum there, because it doesn't exist. So we're asking you today to please approve for us to add to the fourth grade programming, add a fifth grade, update the curriculum with these resources and the Puberty of the Wonder Years as listed in your packet. I do have two committee members here today, Cassidy Schettenhelm and Ashley St. Clair. If you have any questions, I can answer them, or they can answer them as well.
What's the feedback been at the public forums?
So at our first meeting, we only had 3 community members outside of board members who showed up, and it was very positive. Thank you for being there. They were almost everyone was there. You were curious about the special ed curriculum to see what we were looking at and what we were thinking, what we were trying to do, and they were supportive of that. At our second open meeting, we did not have a single community member show.
Other questions?
Mr. Sislo?
Yeah.
I don't have a questions, but I do want to say thank you to our committee members, because there is a significant amount of time that goes into this, and effort and thought, not only about what each individual thinks should happen, but listening to each other about what our community as a whole really wants for our children. And so Ms. Kenzel's not exaggerating when they go page by page and line by line to make sure that the committee believes that this is appropriate for this age group. So I just want to thank all the community members and staff that put their time and effort into this, because I know what an effort it is. So I appreciate that. And I also want to say I was on the board when we had that special permission, because we, as Ms. Kenzel said, under the law, if a student asks their trusted adult, one of which is Ms. Kenzel, so thank you for that as well. I know you were for all 3 of mine. If they asked a question, if it's not a part of the approved curriculum, she could not answer it under law. And so we added this extra permission so that if Ms. Kenzel was your student's trusted adult, she could answer those questions. I think you saw in the permission, though, that under state law, abortion is completely out of that. Correct. So and when we had that conversation, I remember it was because older kids, we thought, well, if you don't answer the question, they're just going to go Google it on their phones, and we really want parents to have the opportunity so kids can get correct information. And now that kids are doing this at younger and younger ages, I just want to say thank you for thinking about expanding that to 4th and 5th graders, because that same problem is going to happen. So I appreciate all of you for thinking of that too.
Thank you.
Ms. Murray.
Thank you. I'll just briefly echo Ms. Heike's thanks to you and the committee for your diligent review of the curriculum from top to bottom at all grade levels. That is an incredible undertaking, but specifically I want to thank you for applying that same diligence to researching and vetting materials for our students with special needs. That is it's a critical area of need in all curriculum. The things that schools are able to purchase from major curriculum developers are woefully lacking across the board in all grade levels and all content areas in terms of having material that is, more or less ready to go. As teachers, we always make those pedagogy decisions and adjust materials as needed for our students. But the weight of doing that on a general education teacher that doesn't necessarily have that background is really difficult. And so I really deeply appreciate that the committee has taken the time to lift that and lighten that a little bit and make sure that those materials are readily accessible and that there's at least a basis for them to start from. So thank you very much for that, and to the committee for their input in that process.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Kenzel, and to the entire committee. I used to sit on this committee and I learned a lot about the process and how rigorous it is. And so I really do appreciate that. I know we'll talk in just a minute about the committee membership moving forward, but before we vote on this, I thought it might be helpful for our community to hear what the makeup of this committee looks like. And just how there's an intentionality to it being balanced across our community members and different stakeholders. So would you mind going over that just briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. So under the law, there has to be input. I put it up there so you can see it. There has to be input from, of course, educators, but it also has to include parents, parents who are not employed by the school. So if you have some parents who are employed, like I am a parent and an employee, so if I'm on the committee, I have to have somebody who balances me, who is not working for Milan area schools. We need to have someone who's a medical professional, a member of the local clergy must be a part of it. We need to have students a part of it, and there has to be a very specific ratio of like each of these roles. So it adjusts every year. If somebody graduates, or if a parent, their kid graduates and they move out, we have to readjust it every year. But so you may have seen, oh gosh, has it been a year now since we put it out? Whenever we need a new committee member, we put it out to the whole Milan area and say, if this is something that you have a passion for, please put your name in on this application, and you have to tell us which role you would fit, if you are a parent, if you are an employee, whatever. And then names are randomly drawn from those roles to fill in this committee. So, and then it goes to the board, as you will see today, for specific approval. Yep.
Other questions? All right. So it's been moved and supported to approve the Sex Education Advisory Board recommendation as provided in attachment M2. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Heika?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
And motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Kenzel.
Yeah. Next up, as advertised, need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 Sex Education Advisory Board membership and co-chairs as provided in attachment N.
Motion by Pryor.
Support by Gutierrez.
So moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 Sex Education Advisory Board membership and co-chairs as provided in attachment N, as outlined, discussed by Ms. Kenzel. It will get co-chaired by Ms. Schettenhelm and parent Brittany Shepard. So we appreciate everyone's service on this as we move forward. Anything else, Mr. Gierwald? Yes.
Just a little bit. We did have a couple of students that graduated, so we had to replace those students. We also had a couple of parents whose students graduated, so we had to replace those parents. Luckily, we had done that survey earlier this year, and we still had names on that list, and we had ranked them randomly by pulling ping pong balls out of a basket. And so I was able to just go to the next people that were still on that list, reached out. First, I verified that everybody was on the committee wanted to stay on, and then we looked at replacing those that we needed to replace. So this list is inclusive of those new members. And I'll just clarify one thing that Ms. Kenzel said. She said it, but I just want to make it clear. At least half of the members have to be parents who have children attending school operated in the school district. So we can't stack it with staff members and other parents have to be the majority of the committee. And the second piece, as Ms. Kenzel said, the majority of those parents have to not be employed by the district. So if you have 8 parents, at least 5 of them have to not be employed by the district. So there's a lot of criteria here. I will tell you, I've served on this committee for a long time. And sat in on the meetings, and the one thing that I can say is they have genuine, in-depth, fair, solid conversations that represent both conservative and liberal thoughts, and they work very hard to find a moderate middle in what they do, and it's all in alignment with the survey that our parents complete. And to me, that's the most critical piece that I've monitored of this committee, is that they're doing what the community wants, and they're finding that nice balance between conservative and liberal beliefs. So again, we are bringing this list to you for approval so that Ms. Schettenhelm and Ms. Shepard can start the year with a full SEEB board. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. It has been moved and supported to approve the 2025-2026 Sex Education Advisory Board membership and co-chairs as provided in attachment N. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. Now into the area of personnel and leadership. We do have a teacher appointment. I need a motion to approve Cody Benjamin as the Paddock Elementary School Behavior Specialist effective for the 2025-2026 school year.
Moved by Murray.
Support by Burdette.
It's been moved and supported to approve Cody Benjamin as the Paddock Elementary School Behavior Specialist effective for the 2025-2026 school year. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. It's been moved and supported to approve Cody Benjamin as the Paddock Elementary School Behavior Specialist effective for the 2025-2026 school year. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. And motion carries 7-0.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the superintendent's contract for Ryan McMahon as provided in attachment O.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the superintendent's contract for Ryan McMahon as provided in attachment O. As stated, we agreed to enter into contract negotiations with Mr. McMahon. The Personnel Committee presented a contract for Mr. McMahon. We brought this before the board to present with a lot of study behind it. One of the things that you'll see at your spot is there was a study that was done by Williams and Company in regards to administrative salaries. You can see the districts that they compared to as far as Portland, Williamston, Flat Rock, Dundee, Armada. Is it Armada? Armada, thank you. So you can see kind of where Milan falls in that salary comparison with districts with similar enrollment. I don't, if there's anything else that the Personnel Committee wants to mention, Mr. Farrow.
Yeah, I want the board to be aware and the community to be aware that I also, on behalf of the Personnel Committee, reviewed 13 different superintendent contracts, including Milan, our current superintendent contract. There were areas where we looked at experience, we looked at recognizing Mr. McMahon's impending doctorate degree. There were several school districts that have newer superintendents. There were some school districts that have superintendents with experience. The contract that you see in front of you represents what we feel as a committee represents a very fair and competitive compensation package. Thank you.
Are there any questions in regards to the contract?
Mr. Sislo,
Yeah, Ms.
I
Heike.
don't have any questions, but I do want to thank our committee for their hard work. I know that there was a lot of research that went into this, and I want to thank our individual board members who may not be on the committee, because I know we were all doing our own research to see what this should look like, because it's been a very long time since we've had to do it. So I appreciate all of the committee's hard work. And I want to thank Mr. McMahon for appreciating the situation our district is in and agreeing to what I believe are very reasonable salary and benefit terms, and also some very reasonable legal terms as well. So thank you to everyone.
Any other comments or questions? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the superintendent's contract for Ryan McMahon as provided in attachment O. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
No,
I'm gonna applaud for
official,
that.
So it is official now that starting July 1st, Mr. McMahon will be our superintendent. So congratulations, and we look forward to it. So next up on the agenda, I need a motion to approve the administrative salary schedule as provided in attachment P.
Moved by Pharaoh.
Support by Gutierrez.
It's been moved and supported to approve the administrative salary schedule as provided in attachment P. So this is being provided to us by Mr. McMahon, as we do have some new, we've had new administrators join, and it's a requirement from the Office of Retirement, the state of Michigan ORS system for educators, that we have this salary schedule required by law for them to refer to. So this is, Mr. McMahon's gonna, if there's any questions regarding that administrative salary schedule, we can ask that. But it basically outlines the salaries for the principals and the assistant superintendent for Milan area schools, as well as the preschool director and director of student services, so, and finance director. Yep. So, any questions regarding the schedule, Ms. Heika?
No, again, it's not a question, it's a comment, but I do want to direct everyone's attention to the footnote at the bottom that does subject this salary schedule to financial conditions within the district, and, you know, it doesn't necessarily take away the board's ability to change the schedule and the payments in the future. So I just want to make sure that everyone saw that and see if anyone had any questions about that piece as well.
Yeah, Ms. Gutierrez.
Also not a question, but a comment, and I just want to let Mr. McMahon know I appreciate him putting this together. It feels like over the years we've come to the table needing to look and place new salaries with new hires or new positions. And this, I think, is a very nice model because it offers us a roadmap to have a place to forecast in terms of not only how much experience one comes in with, but what position they're coming into, and then acknowledging what are the compensation expectations for longevity. And so I really appreciate the way this was put together, and I think it will be a nice model that's going to help our district out in the long term. So thank you, Mr. McMahon.
Others? All right, it has been moved and supported to approve the administrative salary schedule as provided in attachment P. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Burdette?
Yes.
Pharaoh?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heika?
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
And motion carries 7-0.
All right, next up, I need a motion to approve Jennifer Bookout as the Assistant Superintendent effective July 1, 2025.
Moved by Pharaoh.
Support by Pryor.
It's been moved and supported to approve Jennifer Bookout as the Assistant Superintendent effective July 1, 2025. So since we have approved Mr. McMahon and ratified a contract for Mr. McMahon, he's gone through a hiring process for the Assistant Superintendent. I'll let you take the floor, Mr. McMahon.
Thanks. I'm excited to bring Jennifer Bookout to you guys for approval. She's well known in the district, a resident, which helps, but also her elementary background complements my secondary. We're going to make a good team. Looking forward to it. The hiring process follows the standard district process for hiring. It was a few weeks back. What happened was we whittled down our candidates, selected interviews, went through the interviews, and Jen did such a great job that a second round was not needed. It was an overwhelming favorite by the committee, endorsed by everyone. We had folks from all across the district, all levels. So there's been a little bit of a waiting period, but now that we got a contract settled, we can be official with the offer. So,
Any questions? All right. It's been moved and supported to approve Jennifer Bookout as the Assistant Superintendent effective July 1, 2025. Ms. Murray?
Pharaoh?
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, congratulations to Ms. Bookout. All right, next up on the agenda is probationary teacher non-renewal. We'll open this up, not with a resolution. This is a very serious matter that this board is considering. I do appreciate the support that's been offered to Ms. Moran. She is here this evening. There is a policy that we follow in regards to this, and I just want to ensure that you're provided an opportunity to address the board in either open or closed session to respond to the superintendent's recommendation to non-renew. So you're okay with this being an open session? All right, thank you, Ms. Moran, I appreciate that. The way this is going to work is that Mr. Gearbaugh is going to present his recommendation, and then Ms. Moran will have 5 minutes to state her case at the podium in regards to the recommendation to non-renew. So we'll start with Mr. Gearbaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Sislo. This evening, I am recommending the non-renewal of Sierra Moran, a probationary teacher. This recommendation is being made because Ms. Moran is not meeting the district's performance expectations for a third-year probationary teacher. Ms. Moran has been given administrative support both in general and in areas of concern, yet she has not demonstrated expected and sustained growth. Mr. Baden, Mrs. Moran's direct supervisor, provided a detailed description summarizing his concerns about Ms. Moran's performance. A copy of Mr. Baden's letter has been provided to the Board of Education. Concerns include punctuality, lesson planning, effective instructional delivery, timely grading, and professional judgment. Milan Area Schools strives to provide our students with the most effective teachers available, and therefore we take the probationary period seriously. Teachers who, under the evaluation rubric, are not performing to the district's expectations during their probationary period are not invited back to continue teaching in the district. This has been the philosophy and practice of this district since I was an assistant principal many years ago. The district always appreciates when teachers coach sports and lead extracurricular activities and programs. Ms. Moran did both. She coached powerlifting and took the lead on the new Be Nice student support initiative at Milan Middle School. I also acknowledge that Ms. Moran is liked by many and is an advocate for her students. However, these activities and attributes alone do not constitute an effective teacher. Milan Area Schools uses a rigorous rubric to evaluate our teachers' effectiveness. This rubric includes 5 domains and over 80 indicators of effective teacher performance. Through the evaluation process, Ms. Moran earned a rating of developing. The 3 possible ratings are effective, developing, and needs support. While Ms. Moran earned a developing rating, her growth and performance does not meet the district's expectations for a third-year probationary teacher. During the probationary period, teachers are evaluated annually. It is possible for a teacher to be evaluated as effective on a domain or overall, but have indicators that are not considered effective. It is also possible for a teacher to be rated effective one year and less than effective the next year. Each annual evaluation is a new process that can have different outcomes than previous years, as the rating is determined by the teacher's performance during that school year. During the probationary period, Milan Area Schools also expects to see annual growth in performance as determined by the rubric. In other words, we have different expectations for a third-year probationary teacher than a first-year probationary teacher. A lack of expected growth can lead to a less than effective rating on indicators, domains, and/or overall. Of particular note, middle school administrators have assigned Ms. Moran mentors, co-teachers, and others to support her. They have met with her on multiple occasions to share concerns. They offered her resources for improvement, and they went out of their way to address her personal needs. Unfortunately, despite those supports, Ms. Moran continues to struggle in key areas of professionalism, as noted in Mr. Baden's letter. I am aware of a petition that has been circulated seeking support for Ms. Moran. While I do not have a problem with the petition circulation, The board should understand that the petition includes misleading and incorrect information. In closing, I am recommending the non-renewal of Sierra Moran, a probationary teacher, due to less than effective performance as more fully explained in Mr. Baden's letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gearbaugh. I do want everyone to know that Ms. Moran also had the opportunity to submit documentation, and she did that. That documentation has been provided to all the board members for review. So I want to let you know that that has been distributed. So at this time, Ms. Moran, if you take the podium. Oops, sorry.
Am I good? Is it on?
Yeah. Just make sure.
Do I have to talk right into
Okay,
it?
yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I would first like to thank the families, community members, and my students for speaking on my behalf. I'm here to formally address the recent threat of termination made against me, which I believe is rooted in vague and misleading information that is both unsubstantiated and, more importantly, in direct violation of the accommodations I have in place under federal protections. The allegations presented by the assistant principal, my evaluator, are not only grossly inaccurate, but also appear to have been made without a full understanding of the facts. The lack of timeliness in providing a clear or fair opportunity to clarify or respond to the accusations before such a serious action was pursued is unacceptable. Moreover, the approach taken disregards the reasonable accommodations granted to me, accommodations that are legally protected and are in place to ensure my ability to perform my professional responsibilities while maintaining my well-being. Acting in a way that ignores and undermines those accommodations is not only unjust, but discriminatory. I'd like to take this time to address some of those misleading claims that were outlined in Mr. Baden's letter. I'm going to go through each one specifically. Number one, he listed attendance. I fully acknowledge that I have been late in the mornings, and I take responsibility for that. This concern was raised by Mr. Baden, and with complete transparency, I informed him way back in the fall that oftentimes in the morning I am in the parking lot before contract hours. However, due to the lack of support and the resistance I've experienced this year, especially with changes in administrators, I have often found myself having to push through a fight or flight response. Often having to call some of my support people in the morning to let them know that this is going on, that I need support in order to simply walk in the building because I feel unsupported by my building administrators. Once regulated, then I'm able to come in. It's important to note that I always communicated when I wasn't in my classroom at the start of the day. I made sure to call the main office first, then texted both Mr. Baden and Mrs. Bookout, and recorded my time in my intermittent FMLA documentation to make sure that time was not being taken from the district. Expectations for some of this communication, which I will speak on in just a moment, were not put into writing until March 21st, 2025. Number two, in terms of communicating those times where I needed break and stepping out of the classroom, Mr. Baden accused me of being out of the classroom without communication. He is correct in that there was not always communication. He is incorrect in his response to that. Under my previous administrators, I was informed that as long as there was adult coverage in my classroom, students were not left unattended. I only needed to record the time in my document. Given the volume of text messages that those previous administrators received, texting was only necessary if coverage could not be found on my own.
This was communicated to me during a transition meeting that I had with Mrs. Jasper and Mrs. Bookout last winter. Mrs. Bookout agreed that that was okay. The expectation to text my current administrators was not formally put into writing again until the 21st. I continued following the same practice I had prior to this. When triggered, I found that sometimes making things like copies would distract me from the situation that was happening, but also allowed me to continue doing work for my next class while my co-teacher was in the room. Any conversation any conversations that were had in the hallway with colleagues during class time were always student related. They were never personal or social. Mr. Baden is not able to speak to that, even though he does, because he was never a part of those conversations. I'm disheartened to see for number 3 that Mr. Baden claims I struggled to engage in lessons when students just claimed and stood in front of you to talk about the lessons that I have had, especially considering the countless hours I've spent outside of contracted time preparing lessons that integrate real-world skills into fun, age-appropriate activities. While I've occasionally used resources like Teacher Pay Teacher for inspiration, I always adapt them to fit the specific needs of my students. STEAM, in case you did not know, does not have a set.
Keep going.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. STEAM does not have a set curriculum. I have had to create the curriculum from scratch from the beginning of my time in Milan. So it's been very frustrating that the conversations I've had with Mr. Baden have been distorted and used against me. Examples like using the games Gimkit and Bookit. He says I overuse them. I had never used them prior to this year. Students do enjoy this form of assessment. He said that they are not related to my curriculum. Every single Bookit and Gimkit that were used were created by myself and my co-teacher directly from the notes that I teach to my students. We take and we go through each slide, we create questions, we put them into the game. I went to Mr. Baden a few months ago and said that this is something that my co-teacher really enjoys doing. Some students are getting tired of it. I explained that I did not like using them all of the time. I asked for recommendations on how to address that conversation, as one of the things I struggle due to my diagnosis is confrontation. Mr. Baden did not give me suggestions. He said, you are co-teachers. If that's something that she is wanting to do, that you guys have to negotiate that. One of my accommodations is a request for extended time and a modified workload. When symptoms arise, instead of receiving this adjusted workload, I find myself having additional responsibilities. I was the only teacher that had to create a detailed day-by-day lesson plan as outlined in the curriculum guide that I provided to you. This guide was changed and adapted every trimester to accommodate the current group of students I had. I am very proud of the work that I've done and the curriculum I designed, yet I have never received positive feedback from my administrators for it. I've never received a positive comment. I've never been told that it looked good. I've never been told that the projects that I'm doing with my students have been successful. Whenever I have asked questions, I've often felt belittled, as if my concerns are irrelevant. It feels as though my efforts to improve are overlooked and the support I need has not been provided. Classroom management was something that I worked on last year with Mrs. Jasper. Just to go a little bit quicker, one of the things that happened is she said, classroom management is one of the goals I want you to focus on. She brought in my mentor, Jennifer Barker. She explained, this is the goal that we have for Sierra. They implemented a plan. They provided resources. They helped me to grow. They provided a course for me to take, and classroom management has improved. The claim that I often am sending students to the office or calling for support, those all have to do with very specific students who happen to be on caseload, who get escalated very quickly. Those kids often have emotional impairment issues, that they are then hitting tables, they are screaming, they are yelling. Those are situations that are escalating to me where I need support to come in to help. Otherwise, classroom situations are handled on my own. I disagree with the statement that I've undermined my co-teacher in front of students or deflected responsibility in our taught classes. Any comments or directions given to students in those shared spaces were collaboratively discussed and aligned between us. We worked closely together to ensure consistency and shared responsibility in our instruction and classroom management. She was not only appalled by the accusations by Mr. Baden, but by the inaccuracies in how her own classroom practices appeared to be used to target me. She expressed deep frustration that her methods, which we both implemented, are being weaponized solely against me. She even considered writing in support of me, but is in fear of retaliation from not only building but district administration, a fear that is not only from her but from other colleagues who have not wanted to write in support of me or show up because of that fear of retaliation and behaviors that they have seen. I'd like to respectfully correct the narrative that I have not consistently recorded grades or provided timely feedback. Early in the year, I sustained a head injury while at work. A student and I collided heads. That significantly limited my ability to use screens for extended periods of time as medically advised. During this period, I continued grading and tracking student progress using paper-based methods. I even showed that documentation to Mr. Baden, who claims that I did not record it during that time. When issues with the grades did arise, I proactively addressed them. I specifically reached out directly to Mrs. Bookout to explain how the shared gradebook configuration had created technical challenges, included duplicated assignments for non-shared classes being erased or overwritten. She never responded to me or gave me guidance on how to solve those technical limitations. When I addressed her in person, she said that we would come back to it. Now it is being used to say that I did not record my grades. In Mr. Baden's letter, it was stated that I was provided with resources, regular meetings, and mentorship as part of the support for my role. However, I must respectfully clarify that I have not received any additional resources from them this year. Any resources that were provided to me were provided from Mrs. Jasper before she left the district. Throughout this school year, I was the one who initiated the weekly meetings as a request to continue growing professionally. Unfortunately, these meetings were not utilized for meaningful coaching or development. Instead, they were repeatedly used to review the planning guide that I provided to you. Even in weeks with no curriculum change, the meetings were used to solely focus on that curriculum guide. These meetings lacked the constructive feedback and instructional support that would have benefited my professional growth. I do want to acknowledge and express my deep appreciation for my mentor, Jennifer Barker. She's been one of the most impactful and supportive individuals during my time in Milan. Like I said before, under Mrs. Jasper's leadership, clear professional goals were established and shared with not only me, but with her, and we were able to create a plan. This year, one of the goals that was created for me was presence, being in my classroom for the entire period of time. I addressed that with Mr. Baden as it directly violates one of my accommodations that says that I can step out of the classroom when I am triggered. It is protected by ADA law. It is also protected by my intermittent FMLA. With the inaccuracy and lack of knowledge backing these claims, I believe it's critical to provide examples. As we don't have that time, I will say that times where I've requested breaks, they've been denied. I've been belittled and told by Mr. Baden to go back to my room in front of students when requesting a break. I have broken up fights. Today, there was a fight after school that I was standing there. A student bumped into me knocking my head against the wall. When I tried to address it with Mr. Baden, it was pushed off to Mrs. Bookout. Mrs. Bookout completed the paperwork. However, she did not listen to the concerns or the incident from me. She simply stood with her back to me, signing the paperwork. The treatment that I've received from building administration in recent weeks has been discouraging, but also noticeable by my colleagues and my students without them knowing what has happened. Even before any formal communication regarding the situation was made, students sensed that something was wrong by the interactions with my administration. Today, although Mrs. Bookout did complete the required paperwork so that I can go seek treatment, she did not take time to hear my account of what occurred, nor did she extend the courtesy of checking in on my well-being after. I've remained committed to my students even during this challenging time when my professionalism has been questioned in their learning, even while navigating health challenges and a lack of systemic support. It's disheartening that these circumstances are now being framed as professional shortcomings rather than as challenges I manage with proactive attempts at proactive communication and integrity. I share this not to deflect accountability, but to underscore the importance of context, transparency, and fair treatment. I trust this will be considered seriously and addressed appropriately, as I remain hopeful that this resolution can be found within the district's professional and ethical framework. My hope is that we can resolve this today rather than seeking alternative outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moran. All right. I'll offer the following resolution. Whereas the employment status of Sierra Moran, a probationary teacher employed at Milan Area Schools, was brought to the Board of Education upon recommendation of Superintendent Brian Gearbaugh, dated May 30th, 2025, recommending that Sierra Moran's probationary teacher contract and her employment with the Milan Area Schools be terminated based on her inadequate performance. And Sierra Moran received written notice of Superintendent Gearbaugh's recommendation to discontinue her services and terminate her employment contract, along with notice that she could appear before the Board of Education and/or submit written information for the board's consideration. Sierra Moran appeared before the board and received an opportunity to respond to Superintendent Gearbaugh's recommendation to terminate her probationary teacher contract and employment with Milan Area Schools. And Sierra Moran submitted a written response to Superintendent Gearbaugh's recommendation, and all information submitted was reviewed and considered by the board. Now therefore be resolved, the employment of probationary teacher Sierra Moran is terminated because of her performance was inadequate and she failed to make the expected progress in the areas of concern. The board adopts the reasoning and conclusions of its administration that the employment of probationary teacher Sierra Moran must be terminated due to inadequate performance and incorporates by reference Superintendent Gearbaugh's recommendations. The employment of probationary teacher Sierra Moran is to be discontinued and her probationary teacher contract with the district is terminated effective June 7th, 2025, pursuant to Article 2, Section 3 of the Teachers Tenure Act, MCL 38.83. Superintendent Gearbaugh is authorized and directed to notify probationary teacher Sierra Moran in writing that her employment as a teacher has been terminated due to inadequate performance and that her employment with Milan Area Schools is discontinued as of June 7th, 2025. Said notice shall include a certified copy of this resolution as well as a statement of Ms. Moran's right to appeal to the State Tenure Commission, the timelines of legal effect of this determination within 20 days of its receipt by Ms. Moran. So that's the resolution that's offered. I need a motion to non-renew Sierra Moran's probationary teacher contract in accordance with the resolution I just read.
President Sislo, may I address the board?
Yes.
Rob Eatsel, District Legal Counsel. The resolution that was just read is a resolution to terminate Ms. Moran's employment. At this point, the board has the option to do that. Ms. Moran is a probationary teacher. However, another option that the board has is to determine to not renew that contract for an additional term. Those are subtle differences, but they are real differences. The resolution you just read would effectively non-renewal would run through the end of the school year and is not a termination. I think the board should carefully consider each of those two options and not just a termination resolution.
So in the absence of a non-renewal,
So to be clearer, the resolution that you just read, if adopted, would terminate
yeah,
and Ms. Moran's employment effective June 7th. That's a final. Versus continuing the current contract and choosing not to extend it again for another year. That's a non.
sure.
Those are two different legal animals and two different procedures. The board has the discretion to do both based on the information presented. But the board may choose the lesser option of non-renewal as opposed to termination.
A non-renewal would, then the contract would just run out August 31st?
June 30th.
June 30th?
And then any sort of salary that is, if it's a 26-week pay, that would continue over the summer for work performed. And it just,
Through June 30th?
if it's a 26 pay, work performed prior to June 30th would continue to be paid over the summer.
Got it, understand.
So I make a motion to recess.
Support.
So I have a motion and support to recess. Ms. Murray?
Can you repeat the motion and support, please?
So is it move to recess?
Right, but who were the two?
I made the motion
Yes.
and Mr. Farrell.
Farrell support?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to recess carries 7-0.
All right, so we're gonna be in recess at 9:12. We will be back. I can't give you a time frame. Obviously, the board will not be meeting during that time, but I will be consulting with Mr. Gearbaugh and Mr. Dietzel in regards to this, so.
The board cannot deliberate.
Yep.
May I use the restroom?
Yeah. So basically, the meeting's in recess. We will let you know. I mean, we will come back this evening. I can't anticipate that it'll be more than a half hour, so. All right, I apologize for the delay. We're returning from recess at 9:39 p.m. I'm going to offer the floor to Attorney Rob Dietzel. You're not.
There we go. That's better. Just so that everybody understands, my name is Rob Dietzel. I'm one of the lawyers that works with the board and the district. When President Sislo read the resolution prior to our recess, I realized that that resolution contained language on termination. I believe that resolution was provided in error by our firm to Superintendent Gearbaugh as a draft resolution. So I have shared with President Sislo a corrected resolution that would reflect a non-renewal, meaning that if the board approves that draft resolution, Ms. Moran's contract would come to an end. Her employment wouldn't be terminated, it just wouldn't come back next year under a new contract. I know that sounds like a distinction without a difference, but it is an important difference because it would mean that Ms. Moran's employment was not terminated, it just didn't continue beyond her contract term. So I apologize for the error that generated from our firm, and we do have a corrected resolution. The board, to be clear, does have the authority, because Ms. Moran is a probationary teacher, to terminate her employment. Given that it is June 4th, I would encourage the board to think carefully about doing that, and a more appropriate response may be a non-renewal resolution if the board believes the evidence and the facts support that. Last point I want to make is that the resolution that I've provided to President Sislo is a draft resolution that the board can vote up or down. It is not predetermined in any way. So board members should not feel that that is a foregone conclusion or take my statements here as a recommendation one way or the other. I am not making any such recommendation. The board should vote on that based on the facts presented and as you understand and what you believe to be appropriate. So again, thank you for listening to me. I apologize for the error, and I'll turn it back to President Sislo.
Thank you. The motion I first read was not supported, so I'm going to offer the following resolution. Whereas the employment status of Sierra Moran, a probationary teacher employed by Milan Area Schools, was brought to the board upon the recommendation of the district superintendent dated May 30th, 2025, recommending that Sierra Moran's contract and her employment with the district be non-renewed based on her performance deficiencies, and Sierra Moran received written notice of the superintendent's recommendation to discontinue her services, along with a notice that she could appear before this board and or submit written information for the board's consideration, and Sierra Moran appeared before the board, submitted supporting documents, and received an opportunity to respond to the administrative recommendation, and all information submitted was reviewed and considered by the board. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the services of probationary teacher Sierra Moran are determined to not be effective. The board adopts the reasoning and conclusions of its administration that the services of probationary teacher Sierra Moran have not been effective, and incorporates by reference the superintendent's recommendations as well as the relevant evaluations related documents addressing the probationary teacher's performance. The services of probationary teacher Sierra Moran are to be discontinued, and her employment contract with the district is non-renewed, effective on the last teacher obligation day of the current school year, which is June 30th, 2025, pursuant to Article 2, Section 3 of the Michigan Teachers Tenure Act, MCL 38.83. The superintendent is authorized and directed to notify Sierra Moran in writing that her services as a teacher have not been effective and her employment with the district is discontinued as of June 30th, 2025. Said notice shall include a certified copy of this resolution, as well as a statement of the probationary teacher's right to appeal to the State Tenure Commission, the timeliness or legal effect of this determination within 20 days of its receipt by the probationary teacher. All resolution and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution be and by the same are hereby rescinded. So I'm looking for a motion to non-renew Sierra Moran's probationary teacher contract in accordance with the resolution that I just read.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Fryer.
It's been moved and supported to non-renew Sierra Moran's probationary teacher contract in accordance with the attachment that I just read. Discussion. Hearing none. It's been moved and supported to non-renew Sierra Moran's probationary teacher contract in accordance with the resolution that I just read. Ms. Murray.
Gutierrez,
No.
Heike,
No.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-2.
So Mr. Gearbaugh will be in contact with you. That brings us to communications and community engagement. Brings us back to public comment.
Everybody got.
Are there any students who'd like to address the board?
I just want to say a quick thing. I never met her personally, but she's dealt with my daughter. And then when she said she sits in her car to do fight or flight, I've been there multiple times. I don't know what her story is personally, but for you guys to sit up there and not take into consideration about that, that is a big issue that I see. My daughter has almost committed suicide, and y'all don't take it seriously, but I don't see you guys trying to help these students. It's sad. I give you so much credit for helping my daughter through the times that she's done it, and it saddens me, it really does. I'm disappointed. I haven't gone to Milan.
So hold on. Okay, we're not gonna, I'm sorry. If we're gonna have comment, we're gonna have, yep.
Is it already?
It's on, yep.
Okay. I haven't gone to Milan in 2 or 3 years, and I've never, one day in my life, ever had a conversation with Mr. Baden. And on his second day of working in that school, coming up to my little sister, bringing my name up, and I know she wasn't lying because there was multiple students that was with Brindley in that group that don't even talk to my sister that said that he said that. And for him to call my parents a liar over it and scream that in her face is insane. And that just proves me and my dad's point even more. My sister and her friends are getting targeted. Like, when I went to the school, I know how it is. The administration picks and chooses, like, what are the bad kids. Like, they have like a list in their room or something, and they watch them. Like, you got to keep an eye on the kids that you know are gonna, like, it makes sense, but to a point. Like, they're getting followed around. I know kids that get followed around by Mr. Baden because he thinks that they're gonna do something when they like barely be doing anything in the first place. Like, my sister, she got suspended for the rest of the school year because she ate her lunch 3 steps into the hallway outside of the lunchroom. 3, like, literally, I'm being so serious, like right outside the lunchroom. And I get she has gotten in trouble for like little stuff before, but that is no reason to ruin her last week of school. Like, and that just proves the point. Her saying all these things about Mr. Baden being a liar, like, and all this, just like, it's just insane to me that, I don't know, that's crazy. I'm sorry.
So with this decision, you pretty much just said it's okay for an administrator to bully people, but when the kids go and bully each other, it's a big problem. But when you got your top guy bullying a teacher, what do you think he's going to do to my daughter when he gets a chance? Bully her, just like he has been doing since the very first day of school. She's been there, and if you guys don't see that problem, this school district's gone. And oh, this is ridiculous. I have somebody in charge that's going to bully everybody like that. It's insane.
Well, it seems only appropriate that I use all my time being in my last meeting with you guys. My youngest is graduating, and when I came before, I always got in trouble for going too long. So I guess it's appropriate I use my last 3 minutes. I actually only intended to use this time to just wish you well, Mr. McMahon. Every experience I've ever had with you has been very positive, and I hope the best for you as you move into your new position and what that means to lead the district. So I know it's a heavy job, so I wish you well. Didn't plan to address the vote, but I just want to thank those that voted in favor of Miss Moran in this situation, because I know it takes guts to kind of go against the flow. I've seen a lot of situations in these board meetings where you could tell sitting in the crowd what the decision was going to be made, and sometimes you can just tell as a community member that at least perception is that board members didn't have the courage to stand up against the flow. And I appreciate that you guys did, that you guys heard out community members, because again, we don't know the details of her work situation, right? We know our experience with her, and we have no reason to doubt her word, but we don't know that we aren't in the school every day to see whatever is being alleged. But the fact that some of you guys heard the community and heard people's firsthand experiences with her, that means a lot, because at the end of the day, that's what it's really about. Someone said tonight, we all have an educator that we remember. I can remember my 6th grade teacher. I was one of those kids that couldn't wait to get out of high school. I didn't gel with the high school atmosphere, but I can still remember my 6th grade teacher and the experience I had with him. So, that's what it really is all about. And I appreciate you guys hearing that out tonight. And yeah, again, Mr. McMahon, wish you well. New board members that I hadn't met, wish you well as you lead forward. So thank you guys.
Thank you for the comment. Are there others? Student board representatives are excused. Brings us to assistant superintendent comments. Mr. McMahon.
Mr. Sislo, thank you. I do want to provide a grant update for the district. Before the school year ends, I thought I'd get a couple more grant updates in for you. The state just released guidance on Section 35M, which is a per pupil literacy grant. I've mentioned it before that they were coming out with $87 million they're putting out to form a committee to create the list of materials to inform purchases for next year. The guidance that we got was a little different than we expected. Our district, led by Tracy Terrace and Tanya Saragoza, has been doing a K-5 literacy review and doing a really good job of it. They're both very thorough. And so we had a meeting last week where we brought vendors in to kind of come down to like 2 programs we'd like to pilot for next year to then make a decision. Well, the grant just got released, and our understanding at this current moment is that we have to apply by July 11th. Piloting is not allowed. It has to be a full purchase. And so we have to make a decision immediately. We met with our pilot team today. We called impromptu meetings in each of the buildings because it spans 3 buildings to get their input, and it looks like we're going to move forward with the program. So what that means is I'm going to try and get an application done by July 5th to come to you for a proposal. What it appears right now is at minimum it would be $105,000 to put towards a curriculum. So we may have to put some money into some training or some time in the summer to get prepped for a full implementation, but it's worth it, and it could go up from there based on who else applies in the state. So that's going to be fast moving, and we'll come to you when we have some paperwork in line, some contracts with the vendors to see where we're heading, because we're having conversations pretty much all day the last couple days. I do want to just officially thank and congratulate the retirees. Thank them for their service, but congratulate them for making it to the end and getting to experience life beyond here. It's been bittersweet talking to a lot of them because they're just, well, they're all terrific, but excitement for them and gratitude. And I also want to mention to you that Mrs. I, Brandy Ignagni, our new principal Paddock, was able to get started last week. Came in for a couple days. We approved some time for her to get in before the kids and students left for the summer. So she jumped right in and getting to know kids and teachers, and it's going great so far. Very positive response, and she's excited. And we're excited to have more days with her before we get moving into the summer. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Meatman. On to superintendent comments, Mr. Gearbaugh.
Just quickly, over the last couple of weeks, we had a successful senior honors night. Congratulations to all of those seniors who won scholarships and grade level awards and class awards and department awards. It's so exciting. It's one of my favorite events of the year to go to the senior honors night and just see all of the successes of our graduates. We also had an amazing choir concert that many people attended. I was not able to due to my wife's health, but I heard great things about the choir concert. Milan High School had a successful graduation on Sunday, and we want to congratulate all of the 2025 graduates and wish them well in their future endeavors. We had a young adult graduation last week of one student who's turning 26 and graduated from our young adult program. We held a very nice ceremony, had one of the largest turnouts ever at that ceremony. It was really nice, and it was great to see the family there. I was able to, on Monday, attend a preschool graduation. Mr. McMahon attended the other preschool graduation. They also had a couple tonight that obviously we could not attend, but I'm sure that they went well. Remember, June 5th at 1:30 is the 5th grade recognition program, and June 5th at 6:15 p.m. is the 8th grade honors night. I want to thank all of our retirees and congratulate them on their years of service in Milan area schools. I'll be doing more of that at our last day luncheon on Friday. Board members are welcome to attend if they can make it. I understand it's during the workday, so that might not be possible. I want to congratulate Mr. McMahon and Mrs. Bookout on their employment with the district. You guys have hired a phenomenal team, and this district is going to do great things in the future. I want to thank Ms. Kenzel for all of her years of service to the district as the SEEB coordinator. It was not always called SEEB, but we'll just call it that. It used to be called SHAC, the Sexual Health Advisory Committee. That's a weird name, but that's what it was. And but she has just done a tremendous job over the years. She's put a lot of time in with Mrs. Schettenhelm to prepare her to run the SEEB in the years to come. But just a lot of extra effort by Ms. Kenzel over the years to do what's right by our students. And lastly, I want to thank everyone who was able to attend the Sip to the Soup last night. It was a very nice recognition of my service here in the district. I especially want to thank Jesse Kishiyama, Christy Schwartz, Kristen Pierfelice, and Sarah Beckman, who I think put the most effort into making that event a reality. It was very nice for myself, my mom, my mother-in-law, my wife, my boys, my brother, to come and spend a little bit of time and help celebrate my retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gearbaugh. Board member comments. Ms. Pryor.
I'm sure this is going to be the common theme, but I want to say congratulations to all the retirees as well, and to all the graduates. It was really nice to see everybody walk across the stage and get their diploma. Just the excitement's always wonderful to feel from all the kids. I just want to remind everybody there's lots of opportunities to be involved still with events in town in the summer. Several organizations are having fundraisers, different events in the city. The park is under construction to be redone for the things that they have planned to do. And also, since we have our board meeting calendar up and the school calendar is also up, several of the athletic calendars are also out there. So start looking at how you can attend and be involved in different events next year at your child's school, or if you don't have a child in school, something in town to help grow and make our town a better place. I also want to say I hope that we continue to try to look into encouraging the ISD to offer para boot camp for the paraprofessionals that have already had it, that continue to work here, that need ongoing training. I know it's something that we've brought up so many times. I really hope it's something that this board can focus on. anytime we can have the opportunity to offer professional development to our paras to help them as they work with our students, I think is important to focus on. So, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Ms. Pryor. Others? Ms. Gutierrez?
Thank you, Mr. Sislo. Sorry, I have allergies and I've also been emotional tonight with all the retirees, but congratulations to all of our graduates, including one here in the room. It was a really lovely ceremony. I think graduations are always joyous, and I think Sundays was especially very nice. Congratulations to our retirees. I was looking out into the audience tonight, and my son's kindergarten teacher, Clara Theory, was one of them. God, I'm going to get choked up again. And whenever I see Clara, I think of my son as a kindergartner, right? And just as a demonstration of how much our staff care about our students, when I first met Clara in, I don't know, maybe October or so for parent-teacher conferences, I sat down and we started talking, and she got all choked up, and she said, "He's just such a cool kid." And it was just such an indication of like how much our staff care for our students, how much they get to know them, and how much that relationship means over the years. Because I will say, since that time, someone like Mrs. Theory has remained a trusted adult for my son. She wrote his letter of recommendation for National Junior Honor Society. I really value those relationships, and so I think it's a demonstration of the spirit of this district. And so I'd like to wish Clara, Mr. Girba, and all of our retirees a very restful retirement. I'd also like to share with the board that I attended the election for the WISD Board of Education as our representative on Tuesday night. If you recall, there were two different elections. One was for a two-year candidate where Dorcas Musili was elected uncontested, and then there was a election for 2 6-year terms. The winners of that election were Diane Hockett and Mary Jo Tramertine, who are both the incumbents on that. So they will continue to serve on our ISD board, and it was really nice to be able to meet other colleagues from across our ISD. And then I just wanted to amplify the request that Mrs. Pryor commented on about para boot camp. You know, many of you know that I am married to a paraprofessional who has attended the boot camp and who has spoken so highly of it. I know that he and others continue to desire more professional development in this district. And the para boot camp is an excellent opportunity. But I do know many of our paras have already attended that because we have staff who are just so engaged and wanting to better themselves in their position. And so I would like to both ask the ISD for a second level of that para boot camp so that we continue to have something to offer to our paras, and that we continue to offer in-district PD for our paraprofessionals. And just I think something our district could do is figure out how many of our own paras have already attended that boot camp as a way to demonstrate to the ISD the need for a second level of training for that. I do know that there's costs that come with that. Both the ISD provides support for their staff to provide that, but also our paras do get paid while they go to that. But I do think it's incredibly important and something that I'd like us to continue at the district level offer support for. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Others?
Mr. Sislo?
Yeah, Ms. Heika.
First, I want to say congratulations to Mr. McMahon. I am really looking forward to working with you and seeing where you take the district. I think we're in good hands, and I'm excited about our path forward. I also want to congratulate Mrs. Bookout. I don't regret many votes I have taken up here because I spend a lot of time thinking through all the issues. I regret voting against Mrs. Bookout when she came before the board many years ago. She's proven to be a great hire. And she has done a great job, and I'm just very excited to see what she does in this new role. I am sad that we're going to have to hire another middle school principal, but that's another issue that we'll have to deal with as we move forward. Congratulations to our graduating seniors. I'm sorry I missed Sunday. I had a family obligation, but I'm very excited to see what all of you do. And, I hope you guys keep coming back. We need you all to come back. I keep saying, come back. I want to wish everyone a safe and relaxing summer full of fun and reading. Please keep reading, everyone. You can go to the public library while you're at the park. There are lots of little libraries around town, including one right in front of Aiden Milan that Mrs. Macchio keeps stocked all the time. Go get a book. Keep reading. I do have a quick question for Mr. McMahon. When you were talking about the curriculum, was there a specific curriculum? And if I missed it, I'm sorry. ELA. Okay, I missed that somehow. So, okay, thank you. And then I do want to thank all of our community members who came out tonight. Your participation really is invaluable. It is. And while we may not always agree and we may not always come to the same conclusion, the fact that you come, you tell us how you feel about things, it is very important in all of our decision-making process. Even if it doesn't feel that way when the vote doesn't go the way that you wanted it to, I know that I and my fellow board members take all of that input very seriously. I also want to congratulate all of our retirees. There's so much experience when I was sitting here today, looking at everyone and just how much every one of those individuals puts into all of our students. Jay is here every weekend. If you're here for an event on the weekend, Jay is here. And he is keeping the event moving. He's keeping the bathrooms clean. He's keeping, he knows everything, and he's just so invested in the kids and in this district. And I'm really gonna miss him when I'm sitting up here day after day at a dance competition. I'm also gonna miss Mrs. Payne. I find it funny that Mrs. Gutierrez also recognized her kid's kindergarten teacher, but Mrs. Payne was both of my daughter's kindergarten teacher. And my daughters cannot be more different. I mean, they are very different kids. And she invested so much in them, not only in that kindergarten year, but she set the tone for them for the rest of their experience here. And she still follows them. She knows what they're doing. She knows their successes, and she stops them to cheer them on. And she knows what their dreams are for college for my older one in 2 years, and she's all in and is cheering for her. And she, stops Stella and me to talk about Stella's dancing because she loves to watch those videos on Facebook. So it's just such a joy to see that our teachers for all these years are just so invested in our kids, and how particularly our kindergarten teachers really do just put our kids on such a good footing to set them off into the rest of their time here. And so I'm really going to miss Mrs. Payne. I'm going to miss Mrs. Theory. She is one cool teacher. My godson had her, and it's just the same way. Still following the kids, very involved in our community, as is her entire family. And it's just, I'm happy and excited for them, but also sad to see them go too. So thank you to all of the retirees for all of your service and all that you've put into our entire district and our community over the years.
Thank you. Mr. Farrow.
So I was not at graduation. I apologize sincerely for not being there. I had a work commitment up in Saginaw Township. I do want to thank my colleagues on the board for being there and celebrating our amazing students. I was able to see and watch how great the ceremony was. I also heard Ms. Mossberg's address and thought it was excellent. So I want to wish our graduating seniors all the best now and in the future. And as Ms. Heike said, I hope that you come back to the district and support us in some way. I also want to thank the retirees. I know that we've heard that a few times tonight, but thank you for your many years of service. Thank you for your immeasurable contributions and the lives that you've touched over the years. We are so very appreciative. I also want to congratulate Jennifer Bookout as our new assistant superintendent. I also want to again congratulate Ryan McMahon, who I believe will be an excellent superintendent. On that end, I want to thank Mr. Sislo and also Dr. Gutierrez for their hard work and their efforts on the Personnel Committee. We did spend an awful lot of time making sure that we got the very best candidate, and I think that we did. So thank you to them and also to my fellow board members. I think Mr. McMahon is the person for the job. And then finally, I just want to wish everyone a wonderful and restful summer, and I will see you in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. Others? Mr. Burdett?
It is late, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you and congratulations to all of our retirees. It's awesome. Graduates, the ceremony was just awesome. So much fun. You guys did it, and we're all just super curious to see what you guys do next. I was also able to attend the young adult graduation. I think I literally had a smile on my face through the entire thing. It was just so magical to see. It was great. And lastly, I was able to participate in wrapping and preparing 400 hot dogs for the grill and chill at the high school. And it was really neat to just see those kids outside with their friends eating lunch, smiles on their faces, many of them with noses in their yearbooks because they got the yearbooks. So it was a really neat time to be a part of. So thanks for that.
Cool. Others?
Mr.
Yes.
Sislo, can I just add one
Sure.
thing that I want to make sure
Yeah.
doesn't go missed? I just want to acknowledge the many students that spoke tonight and got to the podium. I think I have all their names: Riley, Kendall, Layla, and Bailey. Public speaking in any forum is unnerving, even for those of us who do it a lot. And to be a young person and do that in a very formal setting in front of a board, I know is difficult, and I just want them to know that I admire their advocacy and sharing their perspective, and I'm very proud of each and every one of them for doing that. And so I appreciate all of the comments tonight, as I do always, but especially for those students, I want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Others? Ms. Marie?
Just briefly tonight, I'll add my congratulations to all of our retirees, and I appreciate Mr. Gearbaugh adding up the total years of service at 309, I believe, was the total figure. When I reflect on my time as an educator in the district, and I can look down the list of retirees and see a clear impact from each and every one of them, and I've been just incredibly proud and blessed to call them colleagues and in some cases friends. And although Miss Theory was not my daughter's kindergarten teacher, she had a really rough, I'm gonna just say the whole kindergarten year was really hard for her. Getting her in the building each day was difficult, and Miss Theory was one of the people who would meet her on the sidewalk and support her getting to Miss Rose's classroom, and the two of them together were just the dream team miracle workers that got my anxious little kiddo off to school every morning. So yeah, just the deepest of thanks and appreciation and respect to all of you in whatever ways you've served students and touched our district, made us better. To our graduates, it was such an honor to shake all of your hands at graduation this past weekend, and I want to specifically thank Sarah Monroe, Melody Watkins, and Ms. Mossberg for your thoughtful and engaging addresses. It really, I think all three of them did a beautiful job capturing the spirit of Milan and what we do hope all of our graduates will carry forward into their next paths in life. So thank you to all of the many people who make those ceremonies happen, and it was an honor to be present. Thank you to Dr. Gutierrez for speaking about the para boot camp. I did want to acknowledge that, the reason behind the attendance limit is that there is a stipend involved, and so they want to, obviously make sure that that is available to as many paras as possible. But I really want to concur with your advocacy for a second level. I do know that the para boot camp is funded in several different ways, but grant funding is involved, and so it would involve, you know, a lot of legwork. But I think that it's deeply important, and so I too would like to see us continue to advocate for a 200 level or whatever they would like to call it, boot camp 2.0, whatever. And to just encourage any Milan paras who are new to the district or who have not had that opportunity to please do seek out. They actually do have 2 weeks this year. My understanding is that it's very full, but they are still registering folks. So please do check that out. And then on a national note, I'm not going to talk about it too deeply at this time just because of the hour, but I do want the community to be aware that at the federal level, the U.S. Department of Labor made a rather snap decision, in my opinion, to discontinue the Job Corps funding and program nationwide, which here in Michigan impacts 3 locations across our state. And Job Corps does a number of things, but how it impacts us here in Washtenaw County is many of our students, particularly our young adult students who continue their post-secondary work after high school with the ISD, they often seek out job training, and many of them do go on to live residentially at the Job Corps sites throughout our state, and they are a very critical resource for students in Washtenaw County. So I would just like the community to be aware how that federal decision is currently impacting students here in Washtenaw County, with students having just days notice to move out of their living situation across the state. So as I continue to say, please raise your voices on behalf of education in our state. And that's all for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. I should go first one of these times. So I do want to thank the retirees. Honestly, with all that service, we cannot thank them enough for all they've given to Milan area schools. Just like many who said before us, I do want to thank those who attended this evening and who spoke. I mean, it does take courage. I appreciate the respectful talk during that time, so I appreciate those that came to speak. And then to our graduates, congratulations. We do look forward to seeing what you're going to do. Represent Milan well. So we appreciate you being here, and you guys get the endurance badge for being here for the entire meeting. So we appreciate. And then, yeah, I hope everybody has a great summer, well deserved, and we still got a lot of work to do here in the summer with some hires. So you can see with the people that have retired that we got a new chapter starting here. So with that, are there any other comments? All right, this meeting is adjourned at 10:17. Drive home safely.
We end our recess, did I say 8:51?